Hello everyone. So today we are going to talk about something that I get asked all the time, and that is, when do you decide to throw a chatterbait versus a spinnerbait, or vice versa. So I'm going to show you when, where, why, and how on both. So let's get going. Strap in. Alright, let's start with the chatterbait. The chatterbait. Actually, well, okay. Number one, by people asking me this and stuff, they assume that it's the same lure, which it is not. Chatterbaits and spinnerbaits are fished very differently, actually, and they're not really the same lure. I mean, I guess it's kind of pretty easy to see why. I mean, they're both skirted jigs, or jigs with skirts and with blades, bladed jigs, stuff like that. I can see how they're kind of whopped into that same category, but they're really not. So we'll start with the chatterbait. First and foremost, how you fish a chatterbait. This is the only way, pretty much, that I fish it all the time. You cast it out, let it fall all the way to the bottom. Once it hits the bottom, you slowly reel it, as slow as you can get away with it still chattering in your rod. If you start reeling and it's not chattering, give it a pop. It'll start chattering. Then I'll work the blade back out. Sometimes it'll hit the water and be kind of cockeyed, or it'll get into that mud and get kind of some crud in there. Just pop it, it'll start chattering. Alright, and as slow as you can get away with it still chattering. That is how I fish it all the time. So it's either right above the surface, or it is actually in the surface and like kicking up all that mud, or bouncing off the rocks, which makes that blade go crazy. And someone's texting me, but oh well. Alright, so that is how I fish it all the time. Then we'll go to the ones that I fish. Green pumpkin, most of the time. If the water is super muddy, then I'll go with a black and blue. Sometimes if it's bluegill and the water's clear, I might go with a bluegill chatterbait, but very rarely. Just stick with the green pumpkin. Pretty much imitates a bluegill anyway. So green pumpkin or black and blue. Mostly green pumpkin. Even if the water's real dirty, I'm either not throwing a chatterbait, and I'll get into that, or I'm still just throwing the green pumpkin. I don't know, it works. Alright, and then we'll go how to rig them. Trailers. This is a Havoc swim bait. I don't remember exactly what the name of this one is, but a Havoc swim bait, and this is the Rage Swimmer from Strike King. These are what I use most of the time as trailers. You want the trailer, the tail, to be an inch or so below the skirt of the chatterbait. So you gotta pinch it off where you need it to be, put it on there. Bob's your uncle. There you go. Alright, now if the water's real cold, and or they're just lethargic, not really hitting that hard, or not hitting, whatever, might try one of these. This is like a double tail grub from Strike King as well, Rage Tail. You can actually keep these to where they're still together, and it just makes like a little paddle motion, a lot more subtle than this, which is, swimming like crazy. And that usually works pretty well. Also go with a beaver bait. See, this one's still together, and oftentimes clip these little antennae or whatever, and that does the same thing. Now, if I am looking to target fish that are going after crawfish. It's after a full moon, when crawfish are out, crazy like that, or whatever. Think crawfish are going. I see a lot of crawfish, all that stuff. Then I'll go with crawfish trailer. These are crawfish that I actually make. But green pumpkin, black and blue. Well, this is a special green pumpkin color. If you don't know that, check out this video about my special color that I make in all my soft plastic. But anyway, that's just when I want to imitate crawfish. Alright, now, where or when to throw a chatterbait over a spinnerbait? Weeds. Thick weeds. Yes, the spinnerbait is supposed to be a weedless bait, and it is, for the most part, I guess. But even when you crunch down that wire of that spinnerbait, still a lot of times when you're going through the weeds, it will catch the weeds pretty good and give you a big old thing, a big old slop that you're dragging through. A lot of times you can drag them through and get hit afterwards. Same with the chatterbait. But the chatterbait is like, this blade just cuts right through those weeds so much easier. And you can just keep slow rolling it a lot of times. If you really get hung up, you can pop it out of there and you'll get hit right then as soon as it gets out, if the fish is there. If you're in a good spot, that's a good time you'll get crushed. Alright. But that is a big time when I would rather throw a chatterbait than a spinnerbait. Another big time that I don't really hear a lot about is on beds. In the spawn, on beds, you see a fish on a bed. I like to cast it past the bed, give it a pop so it gets close, reel it or pop it, depending on where you're at relative to the bed. Get it to that back edge of that bed, let it sit. Painfully let it sit. If you got these on there, that thing's just sitting there swinging. And that fish is just staring at it, if they don't hit it already. The other thing are these, sitting there, wobbling around, really pissing that fish off. Wait a while until you can't take it anymore. If you don't get hit, give it another pop, or a couple little turns until you think you're in that bed. If you can't see it, this is going by, you pond guys who can't really see beds. I mean, yeah, sometimes you can on ponds and or lakes if you're bank fishing, if you're walking up and being stealthy, and sometimes, and if the water's clear enough, you can see them. Obviously, it's a lot easier for me on the boat or the kayak, but you can still see them sometimes on the bank. But a lot of times you'll see the fish kind of servicing or see that movement. It's kind of where you can pick where a bed is. But yeah, anyway, so into the bed, let it sit again, as long as you can possibly stand it, probably. Alright, that fish will hit, most likely. Until you can't take it anymore, pop it again until you're on that close edge of that bed. Same thing. If you do not get hit, do it again. Couple casts it might take. It's just, to me, yes, I flip and pitch things into beds and do that and everything, but it just seems like the chatterbait just pisses them off so much that they will hit this a lot sooner than when they hit a lot of soft plastics or a jig that's just sitting there. This blade on this thing pisses them off so much that it is a great bed bait. But you want to cast past them, and you cast right into that bed, you're probably going to spook them off, and that's not good for anyone. Then you'll be waiting for them to come back, and then a lot of times they won't hit because they've been scared away. So that's why I say cast past it and slow roll it in to the edge, slow roll it in, Anyway, that's another time. I really like chatterbait. Let's see. Guess we'll go on to the spinnerbait. Pretty much the only spinnerbaits I use. Black with Colorado blade. If the water is muddy or dirty and the main food source is bluegill. This black and red, mostly black, I also get the ones with the red stripe in them and stuff, just kills it. And the Colorado blade just has that thump and that weird bounce and some more shine to it. And it just crushes it in dirty water, which is usually when I am throwing a spinnerbait. The chatterbait, actually I should mention this, I throw this in clear water. I know people are like, that's a dirty water thing. I throw it in almost every kind of water, unless like even super dirty, then I'll go with the black blue and stuff. But I throw this thing in clear water, and I have catch giants on a chatterbait in clear water with green pumpkin or bluegill or shad, which very rarely, but usually green pumpkin in clear water. The chatterbait just works. Now spinnerbaits, on the other hand, I usually just throw in dirty water. They always seem to work for me in really dirty water. So if the water is muddy and all that, I'll go with the spinnerbait. And this is a good one when the water is dirty. The main food source is bluegill. Alright. If the water is a little clearer, then go with the bluegill. Spinnerbait, I actually didn't have any. I can find any of them. I didn't want to look that hard. But usually go with the bluegill with a like bronze yeah. A bronze blade. And that'll work in that time. Now the other time, throwing a spinnerbait, and this blade, I will actually switch this to a silver, is also a single Colorado blade. I don't know why I love single Colorado blades. Maybe it's a confidence thing or something, but I always liked them a lot more than willow blades or double willow blades or willow Colorado blades. I've caught fish on them, but the single Colorado blade for some reason just works a lot more for me. But this is a white and chartreuse. Usually change this up to a silver. But yeah, this thing, if the water is really muddy, then I'll go all chartreuse. But white and chartreuse, even if the water is on the clear side, instead of throwing like a shad colored spinnerbait, I will still stick with the white and chartreuse. Works for me. Alright. So, and also setting them up, I like this blade to touch probably about halfway down the hook when it's like that, because sometimes it'll bounce off cover and stuff and click that, and that makes it more erratic and makes a sound, and I just always liked it. I usually get hit, boom, you bounce off something, bam, you're smashed. One of these. So that's the way I usually set those up. Just kind of bend them in a little bit. And yeah, so when I'm throwing a spinnerbait, for sure, rock dams. That is my main time to throw a spinnerbait, rock dams. Now, I do throw square bills along rock dams, but a lot of times those rocks have moss on them, and those treble hooks just snag that moss, and it's just frustrating. You know, it just looks awkward with moss like hanging down off of it. I don't think it, like a fish will probably notice that. Maybe not. I mean, it still get hit like that sometimes, but whatever. And then it's just annoying to be picking moss off all the time. But these, on the other hand, don't pick that up, mostly. I mean, sometimes you might get a little bit on there or whatever. But also when it bounces off those rocks and this erratic action of the blade when it bounces off the rocks, clinks on that, you know, stuff, it just works, guys. It just works. So this is like a go-to on rock dams for sure. Slow rolling it, just bouncing off of it. Also on rigging, yes, I do put a trailer hook on, and a lot of times too, I will put one of these again on there. These, you know, rage tails, a swim bait, whatever. And I will put that on, and then you can actually, if you have good trailer hooks, you can actually put a trailer hook so it stays sitting right on top of it. So you got the trailer hooks and you still got a trailer. You might have to adjust it after every cast or whatever, but it works. And if the fish just attacks this tail, you got that trailer hook. And then sometimes I will just go straight trailer hook and not put on a trailer. That's kind of just whatever I feel like doing, to tell you the truth. But yeah, so that's a big time to throw these rock dams. The other time, like I said, is real dirty water. I don't know why, I just always liked the thump of the Colorado blade, and if it's the sun shining and it's real dirty water, it just works really well. The other time is around trees, tree stumps. Got those in the lake, a lone tree stump or trees growing up in the lake, whatever. Throw it around that, bounce it off of them, stuff like that. Always works really well. Can't really do that with chatterbait. I mean, yeah, you kind of can, but yeah, most of the time it ends up getting hung up on those trees more than anything. This is amazing. Bouncing it off those, it's the same as the rocks. Boom, that erratic action, smashed. Alright, the other time I throw them is if I see balls of bait. No matter where you're at, you see shad, if you're on a lake, you're on the boat, whatever, you see balls of shad, throw it around those balls of shad. Good time. If you're on a pond, you see bluegill jumping, know the main food source of your lake. If you see bluegills jumping out there, throw around that with the bluegill, or black, spinnerbait. Perfect time. And crap, I think I went through everything pretty fast. Pretty much it. I mean, chatterbaits and spinnerbaits are probably my two favorite moving baits, reaction baits, search baits, whatever. Yeah, I like throwing crankbaits here and there, but it's just chatterbaits and spinnerbaits have caught me so many big fish, and I love using them. And that, yeah, and that's when I use them. So just my 2 cents on that. That's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else to say. Yeah, that's it, guys. So, thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. Make sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed. Go check out the old videos. Hopefully, because we're about to get really cold again, but the last couple days have been really nice, and the ponds have started to thaw. But I've been working. Tomorrow I will be working too, but might be able to get out. And then tomorrow night they will all freeze up again, because it's going to be flipping cold again and snowing, and then next week looks like crap. So hopefully I can get out there and fish. Oh my god. But big things are coming. I said this in the last video. This year is going to be freaking awesome. I got real big things coming. Keep an eye out for that. But subscribe if you're not subscribed. Thank you. Click on my logo in the upper left hand corner to subscribe. In the upper right hand corner is the last video I made. In the lower right hand corner there's a video I know you'll enjoy. And make sure to hit that like button down below as well.